Well, you have to have lived under a rock to not know that our economy has been a little volatile lately. We've got a new administration that's trying to shake things up, and they are making changes. Of course, we had Liberation Day back in April, and brand new news seems to erupt every single day that tells us things are going to be different today. And we had that happen again this morning, but that's going to start us on our journey. Welcome to the Current Temp. I'm Joey Solopek, and I am proud to have this brought to us by Lexus of Memphis. You guys hear me talk every single week about how much we love not just the product, but the people and the service, which makes today especially fun for me because I've got the general manager of Lexus of Memphis, Bryan Smith, sitting here with me. We're going to be talking about the impact to the industry and to you as well. We like to talk about boots on the ground issues and how that affects you. And we've got an expert here to kind of walk me through this. Bryan, thank you for being here with me today.
I appreciate the expert moniker. I'm not sure it applies, but
No. I know how busy you are.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
So let's start with this. Data just released this morning. Trump has expanded 50% steel and aluminum tariffs to include over 400 products containing aluminum or steel. Now, that sounds like a bunch of techno and economic nerd talk, but what it basically means is he's really upping the ante and covering anything metal on tariffs and what he wants done in America. And that's going to include car parts, of course. I'm going to assume, and this is where I'd love to hear your thoughts, this has got to strain supply chains and the trickle-down effect. You're probably still figuring out, but from your point of view, living in this industry, which is such a vital part of the entire U.S. economy, you got to have a vehicle. How does this affect us buying cars?
You know, it will undoubtedly have a dramatic effect at some point. It has not yet had a large effect or impact on pricing yet. The manufacturers essentially have been absorbing this additional cost, and depending on the manufacturer would dictate how much it's affected them. But they are all feeling the brunt of this. Some of them have made some minor adjustments to pricing, both on parts and cars. But so far they have been, I think they're just bracing to see what the market's going to do, and then I really expect them to, over a period of time, depending on how the strength of the brand itself or the strength of the manufacturer will dictate how long they will try to stretch it out and increase pricing for the average consumer.
Well, this surprises me. So you're saying that the manufacturers have been absorbing most of this so far?
So far. But
and now, is this just true with Lexus or across the board?
You know, I can't speak to all of them, but I'm fairly certain that most of them have not made significant price increases. Small ones, hundreds of dollars here and there, based on model line, based on demand probably as well, or based on availability. But just speaking to Lexus and Toyota, they have we've had some minor, almost not atypical price increases. We will see some price increases year over year.
Yeah.
But I think that as we go over these next couple of years, we'll see some more dramatic increases. I can't say to the number at which they've been absorbing this expense, but it's in the billions of dollars. Every manufacturer has been absorbing billions of dollars of additional expense. So when their profit expectations are announced, you'll see those drop pretty significantly.
Well, in this information I read this morning, this is expected to impact something like over $300 billion worth of materials. And what he did this morning is, if I read it correctly, is basically trying to paint with a broad brush to cover everything,
right,
metal or aluminum.
Seems like he's done that almost every time he's discussed any sort of...
Right. People have tried to find loopholes, and this was supposed to close those loopholes. So somebody like me who's buying a car, I'm not going to have any back and forth with the manufacturer. You are. Do you feel, have you heard or sensed any pressure from them, or do they just sort of keep things going normal?
I've worked at a bunch of different dealerships over the years. Toyota and Lexus is a pretty good place to be from a standpoint of relationship with the manufacturer, with the brand. They at least make us feel like we have a voice, and we'll get a group of dealers together and ask our opinion of things. And in the current marketplace, they feel like that the longer they can absorb this expense, They feel like there's an opportunity to pick up some market share at a time when maybe some of their competitors will not have the wherewithal to do that over a period of time. But they definitely listen to us and listen to those of us that are on the ground talking to customers, selling cars, selling parts, selling service. They I think do an excellent job of they play their role, we play ours, and then we work together as a team to provide the best experience for the customer, and hopefully in a competitive pricing atmosphere.
So from a consumer standpoint, since April, when sort of the whole Liberation Day started, have you seen any impact from the buyer? Have things picked up?
Well, there was a quick initial push of I better get out there and buy something in advance of any tariffs that we may experience, and the numbers are staggering. I mean, the numbers are scary when you hear numbers like 50%, 30%, 25%. All those numbers, when you apply it to a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 or more product, it could have a dramatic and detrimental effect on the automotive market. But we really have only seen minor increases, and I think that's not just with Toyota. I think it's with I've heard some talk from some other dealers that they've had some communication with the manufacturers about some say $5,000 to $15,000 price increases, but it hasn't happened yet. And I think they would be prudent to stretch that out over a period of a couple of years.
Try to mitigate it.
Correct.
Okay. So right now you're still waiting to see that impact.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, and I think that, and I do think you'll find that the stronger the brand, the longer they'll be able to stretch that out over and mitigate that, as you say, over a period of time and over a period of model years, so doesn't feel as extreme.
Okay, kind of like with a phone, I guess, if you're buying a phone.
It was very much like that.
Okay, now I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Let's talk electric for a minute.
Okay.
We've got a new administration that's changing benefits there. I've heard all across the spectrum thoughts from different guys in the automotive industry.
Okay.
And I've got some old school mindsets around me as well. People that are pro, gas, pro combustion engines. I don't know how we're putting this genie back in the bottle, but what has your experience been so far? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think that some version of an electrified vehicle is going to become the dominant powertrain at some point, whether that means a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, or a pure EV or electric vehicle. I think that it's going to take some improvements in technology. Some version of an extended, range is important, but it's also the battery quality, battery tech. Right now, I think the charging time for a battery is too long for your average person, and your average person also doesn't have space in where they live to charge a car. I mean, if you have a garage, you're pretty well off. As an example, just talking about comparatively to the average person, if you got a garage, you're in a pretty good position, right? And so
what do you do if you don't have a garage?
Well, then you have to use public charging areas.
You have to.
That'd be the only option.
This is something I didn't know. If you don't have a garage, are they not able to build that?
Well, they could build it into. If it was a multifamily area, you could put a charging station at an apartment complex or at something like that. They could build that.
Yeah.
But so far, there's just has not been a support system for the average person
to make it practical. Okay.
But I do think that there has been a tremendous amount of capital applied in research and development to make that to make the battery option viable. But I don't think it's going to happen real soon. I think that our previous administration maybe was pushing that more aggressively.
Yeah.
Than especially certainly the buying public was not ready. I mean, a percentage of it has been, and the early adopters that got either Tesla being the dominant player in that area, and then all the manufacturers have something in that segment. But I don't think that once they were available and now that the tax incentives are being reduced or eliminated, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that and whether they can truly be competitive against the traditional powertrain cars.
All right, let's do this. Let's switch now to new versus used.
Okay.
The older you get, the more opinions you hear about which one's better. I historically would buy new. And then I've switched to thinking, okay, as you start having kids and you're buying more vehicles, you're like, okay, do I buy used? For the consumer. Yeah, and again, you've got the luxury of that vantage point of knowing every angle on how this thing works. Given where we are right now, we're about to jump into interest rates. What's a better deal, or is there one? And well, that's a hard question to answer.
I think it just depends on the individual and their situation. I mean, sometimes budgets will force you into a pre-owned type situation, depending on the needs, wants, and the budget of that individual. But I think that right now, when COVID hit and all the manufacturers stopped building cars for a short period of time, inventories dwindled so much, demand came back quicker than expected, and we really haven't caught up from that.
Really?
So I say that to say that we've been in an extreme low availability new cars.
From COVID?
Still from COVID.
Interesting.
Now, it's just that demand has never waned, and so they've been at 100% capacity to build for several years now, but they have not been able to catch up. Now, that's a little bit different from manufacturer to manufacturer. I mean, if you're in our world, in Lexus world, the demand has been so strong, we've just had a really hard time catching back up. So I'll have maybe a 8-day supply of cars on the ground right now.
Really?
Pre-COVID, that number might have been, say, 45 days.
Wow.
Okay. So when we're in that situation, I think that, and what that also will do is that will cause used cars to be more valuable or more expensive.
Yeah.
And so it's a pretty healthy model, unless some life experience pushes you into immediate need. It's a difficult market if you have to buy a car today.
Again, with kids that in college or that have been in college, come out of college, and we needed a used car, it was a tough market over the last 5 to 7 years.
Correct.
Very difficult. I didn't realize COVID. I mean, when you go from a 45-day supply to an 8, that's pretty dramatic.
And some places are less than 8.
Really?
Yes. Some of it's market dependent, and then some of it would be dealership dependent, like which brand they're representing. But our day supply has been sub 10 for several years.
I would think that, and I say this, I'm just talking from 30,000 feet, gives you guys more leverage.
Well, it does benefit us to some degree, but it benefits the buyer too. I mean, your used cars are worth more money, so it all kind of pushes up.
Okay. So when you're trading that in, I guess.
Correct. I mean, there was a period when there were no new cars on the ground, when a 1-year-old car was more expensive than a new car, and it's all supply and demand, created.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they'll write a book at some point about the COVID effect of not just cars, but other products as well. But I can speak intelligently about the car part. I mean, something will come out where they'll show the extreme movement of used car values based on the lack of availability of new cars. Because there was a point where because we were also in the position where they had the chip shortage, so they literally couldn't build the cars, new.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, if there's every day people are either wrecking their cars or pushing they have a child going to college that needs a car. And if you were in immediate need, then you bought the 1-year-old used car or 2-year-old used car that maybe you were having to pay new car retail pricing for.
Well, and as technology has proliferated, I can clearly remember going through this phase where you wanted to go to a dealer for all the, you wanted to be, certified and official. Then if you wanted to save money, you did it, let's say Craigslist or whatever.
Right.
But as time has gone by and scams and fraud have grown even more, that became even more of a dicey situation.
Sure.
Where you felt not safe going to meet somebody to look at a car. So I've kind of come full circle where I'm like, I don't even really consider that anymore because the world has changed. What do you see from consumers? As we do that, let's talk about interest rates. When they come in, is cash king? Do people... I'm going to assume because of what a credit issue we have in the nation, we're carrying a lot of credit card debt.
Correct.
That most people are financing. Do they come in and do that?
Still, I mean, true cash buyers are still are going to be significantly less than people that are financing.
Percentage-wise, what would you say?
At our store, I'd say that we probably finance, or the customer's using outside financing for at least 75%.
Okay.
Of the car deals. And I think some of that is, what you're saying is that I think there's a tremendous number of people that are highly leveraged and that need access to those funds. Now there was a period of time where we were doing a lot of cash deals on the heels of COVID and the the PPP money that all came out, and there was a lot of available cash that they were using, and interest rates, and were still very, very low. So maybe people weren't getting the return on cash they had, if they had it invested places. But I think still your average person doesn't have easy access to, $20, $30, $40, $50,000
right.
to write a check for a car.
What are you seeing with lenders? Are they loosening, tightening requirements? And of course, everything is going to be tied to that critical interest rate. But what do you see there?
There's been some waves of tightening for a little while, but I think their buying practices, meaning the lenders' buying practices, are fairly consistent with what they've always been. I think as you go through the year, they will look at their book of business and begin to tighten up and require better credit. Excuse me. But there's always going to be different players in that market that buy those deals or buy that paper. But I would say that it hasn't changed dramatically post-COVID and where we are now.
Okay. All right, now let's talk trends. I know in the Mid-South and maybe nationally, trucks are a huge deal. We are a truck buying society.
That's changed significantly.
I mean, in fact, I was just reading an article today about the impact of the South. It was a phenomenal article from Bloomberg that was talking about how the South used to be a little bit more mocked. They cited an 80s New Yorker article or cover mocking Atlanta for getting the Olympics. But now the whole trend has changed. We've had such an incredible influx over the past 20 plus years, not just industry, but talent, money.
Oh, people moving into the
South?
South?
People coming to the South.
Yeah, it's happening every day.
That it's become almost a national identity. It's really given the South a ton of power. As you see people coming into these dealerships, trend-wise, what are they prioritizing? When somebody comes in, and again, I say this with full honesty, huge Lexus fan, not just because you guys are a part of this, but just you don't have to look very far in Consumer Reports to see your quality,
Sure.
what you guys have as a brand. So, I don't know that you're getting a pickup truck type consumer, but when they come in, trend-wise, what are people looking for?
Well,
is it fuel economy? Is it power? Is it savings?
All those things come into play. But first, I'd say that how much the market has changed from going. When I first started in the car business, we sold of all the cars we'd sell, 80% would be a traditional sedan, or a coupe, or a convertible.
Like a family car.
Yes, but the SUVs have completely taken over. Some version of an SUV. So truck chassis SUVs, but also car chassis, hatchback style SUVs. Now the sedan is basically, has become almost niche-y. It's probably like a 4-door sedan, like our ES350 or our LS500 is probably less than 20% of the volume we do now.
What's most of your volume?
All SUVs, all some type of sport utility vehicle, luxury utility vehicle.
Is it because people need space? What drives it?
I think there's been a trend. I think I think what people like, I think they do like the space. They like the ease of a hatchback style vehicle as opposed to a trunked car. But to your other part of that question regarding what they're looking for, technology is very important. We have, especially younger buyers, they'll get in the car and look at the dash and the tech available, and they'll make a decision whether it's a car they're interested in before they even drive it.
Just based on technology.
Based on tech. Based on how big the touch screen is, based on the things you can access and do.
These are the younger buyers?
Yeah, younger buyers, and it's starting to stretch into even their parents or my age or even younger in some cases. The tech's very important. Of course, performance and all that is still is very important as well. But tech is probably the number one driver of interest.
I have a funny story. Years ago when we bought a vehicle, I did not want this truck hybrid because for whatever reason, they didn't put a volume knob. They had gone to this.
Oh, yeah.
It was so annoying to me. And
Sure.
I remember thinking, this is stupid. I'm thinking about not even buying this vehicle, which is extremely practical, was not expensive, because I couldn't turn the volume knob.
I get it, yeah.
Do you see a lot of that?
We see some small things like that. We have that the volume knob is the one knob that we still have.
And by the way, they brought it back. Apparently, I wasn't the only one.
Well, we've had some both volume knob and temperature knobs customers seem to really like. Things that they often are making
tactile,
quick changes to, yes, as opposed to having to tap, a touchscreen a number of times. To
it sounds dumb, but it's real.
No, it's just, well, there's certain things that we're accustomed to, and it's the things that you need to turn quickly or change quickly, like volume or temperature, has gone back to knobs. And there's been a movement towards having some buttons and knobs again, and the ease of use and the lack of having to search through a touch screen to access whatever.
And the immediacy.
That's right.
Okay. All
right.
right.
I think the tactile part's part of it too.
Well, we're almost done. This has been phenomenal. A couple of brain questions for you. Are people holding cars longer now?
Yes. They're keeping cars a little bit longer than they did, say 6 to 8 years ago.
Is it economy? Is it better product or a blend?
I think it's a blend, and I think it is. I think part of it's the ease of it. If we had, back to that day supply concept, if I had 45 day supply cars on the ground, then I'm going to be aggressively pursuing my customer base to see if they're interested in buying some things that we may have. And sometimes we can call it manufacture someone who maybe wasn't considering buying at that time, but maybe there's some incentives in the marketplace that would make it beneficial for you to make a change. We're not in that kind of situation, so we're not pushing that as much as we maybe did in the past. And then I just think that, but I definitely think to your point that the reliability and long-term dependability, and then maybe a little bit of being conservative in their spending habits, on that side, big purchases like that. I think people are keeping cars a little bit longer.
Do you think AI is going to be playing a role in vehicles?
Oh yeah.
How do you see that?
I don't know exactly. I think that it'll somehow come into play with some of the push for self-driving. I think AI is going to probably play a role in that tech-wise. I don't think we're as close as some of the publications would like to, or stuff you see on social media, and you read about some of the manufacturers that are making breakthroughs. I mean, I do think that there's certainly been some massive strides there, but I don't think we're nearly as close as. I mean, I hear people ask me, "Well, I think my next car is probably going to be something that drives me around." I don't think we're quite there yet.
All right. What piece of advice would you give to someone who maybe is looking for a car in the next 3 to 6 months? And I'm going to flip the tables on you.
Okay.
If you are a buyer, how do you come in and sound savvy?
Well, I mean, there's so much information available online today. It's so much different than, when we were younger and you had to actually go to the dealerships to gather information and to test drive and to get brochures. I mean, the brochures are pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But all that information is available online. So I certainly would start with, do your research. Step 2, it's going to sound corny a little bit, but just find somebody you feel like you can trust.
Yeah. That's a big one.
It really is. And, there is a lot of really great moral, ethical dealers out there that are doing things the right way, and really just that I always say I'm in the relationship business. I just happen to sell and service cars, and I think that there's a lot of us that are that way, that just are looking to establish long-term relationships and treat people as they, like you would like to be treated like a guest in your own home. And so, do the research, find somebody you can trust, and then, make sure it's a car you feel like you're going to know and love for a long time.
Yeah, I'll walk an extra mile with very little data if I feel like the person is going to not try to rip me off.
Correct.
That's really what you want to feel.
I think people do that in all aspects of their, retail purchasing lives.
You bet.
Whether it's something simple as clothing or as simple as the food we buy. I mean,
or your phone. If I'm going to get good customer service,
that's right.
I may spend extra because I know somebody's going to help me take care of it.
I'm in the same boat there. I mean, absolutely. And we talk about it at the dealership every day. There's lots of ways that you can. There's lots of places that our customers and friends can go buy cars and service cars, and so to do it in a way that customers can feel like it's transparent and they can feel like we're a trusted place to visit and do business with is step one. I mean, that's just the getting started stuff. I mean, we talk about that smiles free. You can really you can squash a lot of concerns by being kind and smile and treat people with respect, and it works almost every time. Okay,
and I'm going to give you a plug you didn't ask for.
Okay.
I've spoken to some other owners of different dealerships away from Lexus, and honestly, you guys are the gold standard. I've heard them covet your business and business model, which is a huge testimony. It's a huge compliment. Tell me what is behind that, and when you walk in the door, and again, and this is coming from a guy who has friends who are in different
Right.
dealerships, and I've gotten a sense of how they approach their day. How do you go in there? How do you motivate salespeople, service people? Because all of us maybe have to go into a service department at some point.
Let me speak first to just being in the car business and being in the Lexus world. I feel very lucky to be with a manufacturer like Lexus. I mean, they, built into what we call the covenant, Lexus's covenant is the customer service mantra. I mean, it is treat every customer with respect, treat every customer as a guest in your own home. And that was set up before they built the first car. So like every meeting we have with Lexus is all about customer experience, and then it's about employee experience. So take care of your customers, take care of the people that you work with, and then some of the other stuff just will take care of itself. And then we're also very lucky and blessed to have a product that is for the most part problem free.
Right.
If we were having to work on things that were failing day in and day out, it makes that relationship a lot more difficult.
Yep.
And so to have a product that is so consistent and long-term dependable really helps keep those relationships strong, because if they were failing all the time, it'd be a much different conversation. But how we do it on the dealership level is, and Lexus is super supportive of that, and they create programs that help us take care of customers. I mean, like our loaner vehicle program is a good example. I mean, I currently have, I think, 92 current year Lexus, that we loan out to customers every day while we're just doing basic maintenance on their cars.
Which is amazing.
It is, well, we wouldn't be able to do that without the assistance with Lexus. I mean, we basically have a fleet of rental cars that we operate in that way, and it is a very expensive program to maintain, but Lexus is very supportive, and they help subsidize that program, and they realize how important it is, because there's just so many of our customers, I think, well, one, appreciate that, because it's just time is it seems to be in shortage for everyone, and people don't want to come sit around, even if we have a nice customer lounge area, which we do, but most of them would rather jump in a car and go on about their day.
Yeah.
We talk about it every day as treating people with respect, making friends. Most customers just want to come in and they love talking about their cars, but they want to talk about their kids. They want to talk about their dogs. They want to talk about their summer. They want to talk about going back into school, in the fall with their families. And so we're just maintaining relationships.
Listen, friends, let me go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank Bryan for being here with us. And I think it's critical to have perspective. And again, this is one of the gold standards out there. So whether you're familiar with that brand or not, you can hear how things are done, how they should be done, how you can be treated. And if you're not getting that kind of service someplace, that it is available out there, just so that you know all that. And I hope it's helpful hearing what's going on in the industry as we all have to have a vehicle. And we know that gas or hybrid or EV is going to be part of our future going forward. So you just heard from one of the leaders in the industry give us some great thoughts. Listen, once again, if you've got any comments or questions, you can email us. All you have to do is go to the currenttemp@gmail.com. You can give us some ideas for future episodes. Tell us what you think. We'd love for you to subscribe on YouTube. We're there. You can listen on Spotify or, of course, on my Facebook page. Bryan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Joey. Thanks for having me on.
A great talk, and we will see you guys soon.